conduct a bit of monitoring, evaluating research functions. Mr Chair, it just shouldn't exist.
Sue Moroney.
Mr Chair, I want to actually come in support of my colleague Jacinda Ardern with her analysis of the reasons why Labor is opposing this bill. It is actually a sad day when the current government has brought the Families Commission into such disrepute that the Labor government, who actually established the Families Commission to start off with, is now of a mind that it serves no useful purpose for families in this country. I think that's a really sad indictment on what the government has done to a unit, a commission, that actually did have a genuine reason and a genuine purpose. But as we just heard from my colleague, that has been somewhat diminished. And in fact, to the point where already in the last term of Parliament, the Labor Party had come to the conclusion that children's interests would be better served by actually disestablishing the Families Commission and using that funding instead to support the development of a ministry for children and a minister for children. And what the Labor Party said at that stage, and this remains its policy today, is that we would prefer to have a senior minister around the cabinet table whose job it was to advocate the interests of children, rather than have the Families Commission, which, as Jacinda Ardern pointed out, had got to the ridiculous stage in its development where it would not support extending paid parental leave. And I just want to revisit that for a couple of minutes, because as the sponsor of a Labor Party bill currently before this House to extend paid parental leave to 6 months, imagine my surprise when I read in one of the Sunday papers, I think it might have been the Sunday Star Times actually, where the Families Commissioner launched an attack on a piece of research that had been done by a previous Commissioner for Families, which actually argued very thoroughly on behalf of families to actually ensure that we valued, I think it was called, what was it called, Dr Prasad? Time to deliver, maybe, because that's certainly what it is, time to deliver. It is time to deliver on paid parental leave, by the way. But there was actually a very thorough piece of research done that actually put forward the argument on behalf of families that paid parental leave should be extended to 12 months, in fact. And certainly that is Labor policy as well. We think that that's not quite achievable in the current climate, but we do believe that 6 months paid parental leave is entirely affordable. So imagine my surprise to read the very person who I thought would stand up for families and the very person who should have stood up for families saying that they thought that the previous report from the Families Commission was gold-plated and not necessary. And I think that story probably tells New Zealanders all they need to know about the worth of the Families Commission these days. Because if the Families Commission was really advocating on behalf of families, then the Commissioner would understand the stress that families are under presently. That would mean that they would be looking to the Families Commissioner to stand up for their needs in terms of their ability to spend more time at home with their young baby in those precious early months. But no, it's not the Families Commissioner that was prepared to stand up. It was the Labor Party that's been the organisation prepared to stand up for those families and those parents and their day-to-day stress and their need to make sure that their children get the best start in life. And of course, I imagine that the Families Commissioner was probably feeling somewhat nervous about commenting on the issue of paid parental leave because the National Party had voted against it at its first reading. The National Party voted against it like they have done actually for years now. Ever since paid parental leave has been on the agenda in this Parliament since 2002, it was probably voted on in 2001 actually, the National Party has consistently voted against it. But that's the point, Mr Chair, is that we should not have a Families Commissioner who feels nervous because of a vote that the government MPs have taken in this House. The role of the Families Commissioner is to be neutral and to be independent and to advocate for families, and that clearly is not the case any longer. And I think, as Jacinda Ardern said, haven't the National Party taken the name of the Families Commissioner far too literally? It's not the commission that you appoint your own families to, National. It is actually the commission that should be representing families.
Dr. Rajim Prasad.
Mr. Chairman, I rise to take a call on part one, and I do so with a lot of sadness, Mr. Chairman, because of my historical links to the Families Commission as its inaugural